Supreme understanding here. I didn't want to waste any more time without addressing what's going on in St. Louis right now. What's happening with our brothers and sisters in St. Louis is a matter that we should be concerned about pretty much anywhere you're at in the country, in the diaspora, whether you're black, whether you're brown. Hell, if you're white, you should know about what's going on. And I'll tell you why. This is not just a situation that's related to a few people in St. Louis. This is an epidemic that you are seeing broadcast before your eyes, at least on social media and not so much in the mainstream media, because it's coming to a head. It's gotten to the point where there's people like those of our brothers in St. Louis, brothers and sisters in St. Louis, who just refuse to take it anymore. And so you're seeing a modern day resistance movement. You're seeing a modern day insurrection. You're seeing a modern day rebellion. And we should understand it within that context. What you see people that's so-called looting. I mean, these aren't businesses that belong to members of a community. I mean, these are businesses that come in and pull resources out, but don't bring anything back. You know what I mean? No matter who the ownership is, that's typically the norm, because that's what is encouraged within these communities for business owners not to be involved in building the community up. I mean, that's really the way that this country is structured. What we're seeing regarding the police brutality in St. Louis, in LA, in places throughout the country, where not only can police, but just regular white people can kill young black men and women with impunity, meaning they will not fear prosecution. George Zimmerman opened that door when a light-skinned, brown, half Mexican, but thinks like he white individual can kill a young black man and get away with it repeatedly and get funding to do so. It let everybody know, hey, it's open season. And so we're seeing a return to the 1920s. I mean, they're bringing back lynchings. And so black people have a right in this country to feel some kind of way. And so this is not just about civil rights or about the right to, I mean, because really this is about human rights. Human rights, the right to live, the right to send your son to the store, where you don't have to think that this man might get gunned down because of the color of his skin. You should not have to fear that, and that's a human rights issue. That's nothing else. That is something that everybody in this country, in this world, with a conscience should stand behind. So you should stand with St. Louis. Everybody should. And those people that are capable organizers, they should be on the scene making sure that things go in the right direction so that people are moving in the direction that will benefit their community. And no, it's not always going to be peaceful protest. There's always been people that just don't care anymore. You've pushed them too far. Anytime that the people have been repressed and oppressed for that long, there's going to be elements of that people who just don't care. And they've been through a lot, and they're gonna do something. Something's gonna happen, and you need to be careful, because there's a time when people get pushed to the point, and we don't have any control over who does what. If brothers is in these street organizations one day decide, hey, listen, man, we've been going through this for the longest, but it's time right now, and we sick of this, and they decide to really just start picking people off, and these are the people that have been corrupt all this time anyway, that's a dangerous time. And there's no way to avoid that if you continue to repress and oppress people in the way that they're doing right now. They denying these people even the basic right to peaceful assembly. You're not supposed to be able to tell people when they can assemble. They continuously, they repressing journalists. I mean, seriously, it's a serious thing that needs to be addressed on a global level. And if this does not reach a global audience, somebody else needs to make sure that their version of this story, which should have all the facts, is in everybody else's version right now, where we know what happened to this brother. And it's not even about just one individual, though we need to look at these individuals as the human beings that they are, because I don't want any family to feel like their child got lost in a sea of outrage, because everybody is still a human being. We should honor their legacies. Yet we should also understand that this is an epidemic. This is a genocide. This is a genocide that takes shape on so many different levels, not just as it's enforced by the state. Don't get it twisted. Every cop don't act just on his own will. The reason they allow racism to perpetuate in the police department is because it is part of how the system is set up. Black cops are scared right now. Black cops don't like what's going on, but they can't say nothing. They gotta stick with their people, because they know what'll happen to them if they don't. They know what happened to people to break the blue wall of silence, and if you're an officer, you know that. And it's a shame that it's like that. If you're a white cop, it's a shame because you're supposed to be preserving some law and order, and you're supposed to be preserving an oath to humanity. Come on now. Y'all know what y'all perpetuating. Because this is what the state pushes. It's what this system pushes. It pushes genocide. It pushes sterilization. It pushes incarceration. It pushes school to prison pipeline. All these things are documented. It pushes lead and chromium and asbestos and all these things. And our children end up with over 100 chemicals just in their placenta. Just in the placenta blood. And that's documented. The chemicals that our babies grow up on, those are the chemicals that contribute to higher levels of violence in youth. This is not accidental. None of this is. So yeah, it's about time that people started seeing the writing on the wall, and I hope this reaches a global audience. I hope that throughout the world, countries see what the U.S. is doing to its citizens. These are people that pay taxes. These are people that are supposed to be free. These are people that shouldn't have to show their papers to walk the streets. I'm saying that my family's from Bangladesh, and I can see that. You know what I mean? I've seen what's happened in this country for as long. I'm a student of history. That's what I do. And this is right here. This is the 60s all over again. This is the 20s all over again. This is the 1860s all over again. This is a time that's important, and I hope that everybody who has their own personal commitments and obligations should understand this time within this context and just contribute in whatever way they can, even if it's in just talking to your friends and co-workers and family and letting them understand everything that's going on right now within context, within the context of there being a real serious campaign against our next generation surviving and thriving. That's what it all boils down to. People of color are really in a tough predicament right now. And until we come together and put a lot of other things aside, and I'm talking about class issues, color issues, language issues, nationality issues, who got off the boat first, who got raped by who first, certain things we don't need to be debating about. It's really about our survival at this point. And and we see who the cross is on the hardest. We see who the cross is on the hardest. So, man, I hope that call for solidarity and unity, man, it just ring, man. It ring across the world. I hope it happens, and we're gonna keep pushing till it do.